back here in studio. Jennie Restrepo in studio with us today, Insured Title Agency. We're going to talk about some of the real estate situations to be careful of, what's in an owner's policy as well, especially when you're buying vacant land and building on it. You want to talk about that. And also, what happens when you get these lowball, wholesale type offers, these offers that come in? What are some of the things to be conscientious of? We're going to talk with Jennie Restrepo, Insured Title, coming up here on the show. Before we do, a couple of hot listings. We got 9423 Blackthorn Loop right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. This is Land O'Lakes, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. You have a 2-car garage, 1824 square feet, no CDD or and very low HOA fees there at this property. Now, this is an unrepaired sinkhole. Documents are available, but it's been a great rental for the owner, great cash flowing property you might be able to get at a good price. Tampa International Airport, close proximity, world-class golf courses around you as well. 9423 Blackthorn Loop, Land O'Lakes, Florida. Another one of our real estate properties from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 6441 4th Palm Point, St. Pete Beach. I absolutely love this home. This is a waterfront property with a boat dock on Boca Ciega Bay with access to the Gulf of Mexico. This is the Florida lifestyle. This is living the Florida dream. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, bring your kayaks, your canoes, and all that good stuff. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2280 square feet, 6441 4th Palm Point, St. Pete Beach. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. You have hurricane-rated windows, 75 feet of frontage with the dock that comes with water and electrical connections and a lift. Great opportunity to own real estate here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, quick shout out to our friends at Lawn Anglers, Adam Long and his team. They do a great job on our real estate properties, residential, commercial properties, cutting the grass, doing great. Any types of, if you're looking for a new landscaping company, I would highly recommend Lawn Anglers. Adam Long and his team over there do a great job for all of your real estate lawn maintenance, etc. Reach out to Adam Long, Lawn Anglers. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, Jennie Restrepo back in studio. Welcome back in.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And we love to have this ongoing conversation with our expert contributors. And when it comes to consumer advocacy, you're one of the best we have because you're able to say, hey, look, this is what we saw. This is a perpetrated crime or attempted crime, and here's what we need to know about it.
Exactly. I joke about this every time. One of these days, maybe I won't have a new fraud or crime story to share with you, but so far we have not reached that time.
That would be as fun.
Exactly. But
the world doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. It does not work that way, unfortunately. So the best that we can do is make consumers aware of what's happening, and knowledge is power, certainly in these situations. If you know what to look for, or you at least see the red flags when they're kind of glaring in your face, and know who to call, and right. Someone like Brandon, you can contact the show anytime. You can get to me, you can get to Brandon and anyone of his team, and just say, this, my spidey sense is up, this doesn't make sense, can you please explain? So I know I've talked about it on the show plenty of times regarding vacant land, and this problem of vacant land fraud is not slowing down. In fact, I was in Orlando a couple of weeks ago for a Florida Realtors meeting. So Florida Realtors from all over the entire state got together, and just out of conversation, I started talking to other agents from all around the state of Florida regarding, hey, is this happening in your part of town? Like, have you noticed this? And almost always it's, that happened at my office, that happened to another agent that I know, I've heard of that. So it's really spreading like wildfire throughout the state. What's happening is people are perpetrating to be the correct seller and contacting real estate agents to sell vacant land. And then in those unfortunate cases, those are actually being sold to unsuspecting third-party buyers. And then these criminals are getting away with the money. And the caper may not be unwound for quite some time, because with vacant land, they're really looking for people who live out of the state, which is public information. And then right. if you own a piece of land in another state from where you live, the information may not get to you right away.
Right.
And the longer that it goes, the harder it is to unwind, because unfortunately, closing funds that are wired, within 24 hours, that money is just gone forever. And it's a burden on law enforcement to try to track down where did it go and getting it back. And it's just, honestly, it's a process that you overall just want to avoid at all cost. So how do you protect yourself? Well, if you're buying vacant land, certainly make sure that you're working with a good, reputable title company like Insured Title Agency. Look at their reviews, talk to the team. And we at our title company are taking extraordinary measures when it comes to vacant land listings. We're treating all of them like prove to me it's not fraud instead of prove to me it is, because it's better to take that offensive approach and go through as many checks and balances that we can to ensure that we are dealing with the correct people. Yeah. And one of the biggest things is we do not allow any party to a signing session to bring their own notary.
Yeah, and you also want to ask right up front, if you're the real estate agent on the file, ask for the ID. If you ask for an identification, a lot of times they're not going to be able to provide it.
Well, Brandon, and sometimes though, now if they're texting you a picture of an ID, it's photoshopped.
Right.
It's wild. Yeah. I was on a broker call a couple weeks ago, and that broker has now created a required questionnaire that any listing agent listing vacant land with his brokerage has to complete and has to go in their file, and he has to basically review the questionnaire before approving the listing, essentially. Yeah. Because it's getting crazy and it's not just agents that are brand new or new to the industry and don't know. These criminals are getting very smart. Yeah. So not to talk you out of buying vacant land here in Florida, but take these precautions. Don't cut corners. Don't think, well, I'll save $1 and not use a real estate agent, not use a title company. Right. I'll pull something off of Google and we'll all sign. Please do not do that. Yeah. Because then now the biggest thing is, if you purchase this vacant land without an owner's policy. So what is an owner's policy? Basically, a title policy, your owner's policy, is your protection against the past. Meaning it's the insurance document that says this title was reviewed and it was found to be free and clear of defects, meaning no liens, the correct owners, all of them have signed, and now we're insuring your purchase. Mm-hmm. But if you're purchasing vacant land, that insurance policy is issued in the purchase price of the land. Right. So now what are you doing with this land? Are you building a house on it or improving it in some way? Are you establishing a business on it? Anything that you now permanently affix to this land is not insured, because your policy is up to that purchase price of the land. Right. So if you're going to build a house on it, build a business, add a barn or whatever you're going to do, that cannot just be picked up and moved somewhere else if somebody comes knocking and saying, hey, this isn't your land, it's mine. Right. What you really need to do is have your owner's policy updated. Yeah, it's important. We're talking with Jennie Restrepo here, Insured Title Agency right here in Tampa Bay. And Jennie's also a great networker. She's over at GTAR doing a lot over there. We've got an event coming up that you were able to help me with as well. Win with Sellers. It's a event coming up on March 27th, Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. to 3:30. We're doing an abbreviated. This is really a 4-week course that we're kind of cramming into 5 or 6 hours here to kind of get our message out and try to help other real estate agents in the area. So we have that abundance mentality. You know, a lot of these professionals run around with a scarcity mentality, trying to keep all the information to themselves. We have a more of an abundance mentality, collaborative mindset. So March 27th, Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Come on over. GTAR right there in Tampa, Realtor Association, 2918 West Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. Please RSVP if you're going to make it. We'd love to talk to you. And I think, Jennie, you're going to be there as well, right? I will be there. We're bringing lunch. So not only will you get a ton of valuable information, it's open to all agents regardless of brokerage. Brandon shares great information, but then we'll give you some snacks.
Yeah, lunch sponsor. Thank you for that. Compliments of Insured Title Agency. Jennie Restrepo going to be there as well. So yeah, we love doing that. I love teaching that class. I want to get more into it, and it's nice that the Greater Tampa Realtor Association allowed us to do that, and to be able to bring some of these different tips. That's what I like about it. I listen to a lot of books, or I'd see different coaching videos, and it's sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect there because they're not in the business. I think that's the big difference when you have an instructor, a coach, a teacher that's actually in the trenches every day, dealing with the phone calls, dealing with the rejection, dealing with the listings, and the appraisal cuts and inspections and insurances, all these different issues that come up. So it's gonna be a fun class. I really love teaching those classes.
I love teaching too. Knowledge and information, it only makes you that much better. And honestly, when we all improve, it just helps our profession, and it helps the customer experience, that you're dealing with a knowledgeable and reputable agent. Along those lines, there's resources for all entrepreneurs in the community. 2 spaces, if you've never heard of them before: the ECC, which is the Entrepreneur Collaborative over in Ybor City, and Hillsborough Community College has an InLab, which is open to entrepreneurship and tips on writing a business plan or how to get started. So one of my fellow board members at GTR is managing a grant over at HCC, and she's been looking for speakers. So I am figuring out my class because it'll be brand new. But basically, I got my license. Now what?
There you go. I love it.
So it's the getting started is sometimes the hardest part. They say 20% of agents do 80% of the business. Yep. So like, what about this other 80%? It's how do you get started? How do you pick the right broker? How do you pick the right board to be a member of? What do you even do to get started? Yep. So I'm going to share that. That'll be a free class, but knowledge is always a journey. So check out all of these free resources. That's open to anybody, that if you have a small business in the community and you want to just get some ideas, it's not just for real estate agents. Both of those resources are free. Almost everything that they offer is free.
One of the things you kind of reminded me of too is Tony Robbins, Business Master. I've always invested in myself, invested in education. But I heard it said something kind of phrased like this is, the only sustainable competitive advantage. There's one sustainable competitive advantage in business, and it's the ability to continuously learn and to be absorbing textbooks, absorbing audio books, even videos, courses, anything you get your hands on, especially if you're new in the business. If you're brand new into real estate, what else are you going to do rather than, watching Netflix or watching some of these, housewives of this county or that county?
Do not watch the Selling Sunsets of the world. That is not
ridiculous.
Real.
Yeah, exactly. Those are ridiculous.
Do not watch HGTV for your pointers.
There you go. That's right, Jennie. So, Jennie, I'm going to kick it back to you. Final thought here. Actually, let's go real quick into the lowball offers. Because we get these these wholesale offers. Be careful. This is another area of, again, true crime with Jennie Restrepo. It's kind of a area that we see a lot of times, because I'll have listings that are expired, canceled. I'll call them and I'll say, this wholesaler came out here, put me on an assignable contract, check the box that said assignable, and then they put my property on the MLS, and they're not the actual owner. They only have an assignable right to the contract, but they're not the actual owner. They shouldn't be doing that, right?
As far as I know, so I'm not a legal expert, but just because you have an assignable contract does not mean that you have a valid listing agreement. And MLS requires the owner of record to sign a listing agreement that permits a licensed agent to enter their property onto the MLS. Right. So an assignable contract is not a free license for that person who's now gone under contract with you to do whatever they want with your property. Now, they could advertise it on their own website or something like that, but the MLS has very specific rules, and you must be a Florida licensed real estate agent in order to access MLS. So, definitely be careful in those situations. I mean, I think we've said it over and over and over again. Do not sign a contract without understanding what the contract says. And as Brandon was talking about business acumen and business knowledge, I'm not a math expert, but the math doesn't math that they're paying you top dollar for your property and then immediately reselling it to someone else.
Right, exactly.
So somebody is getting not top market dollar, and it's probably going to be the original person on that contract.
Yeah.
Because look at some of these huge companies that essentially have exited that business model because they were offering fair market value for properties, but then immediately trying to resell them. Like, that's not.
And
there's no upside. There's no upside. Well, they would beat you up on your appraisal and inspection and all these things, and now you've gone down this road and you're already packing your stuff, and so you're just kind of like browbeaten into taking this lowball offer.
Yep.
In fact, the story that I came with today was I got an offer in the mail. And the letter, it's an official letter, and it's written kind of like an offer, but not like on a purchase offer contract. It says, we will pay you cash for your house at this much money. And it's laughable.
They try to get people to call. It's almost like getting an email from a Nigerian prince, right? Sure.
I mean, the thing is, like, hey, shoot your shot. I had somebody get me on the phone. They're like, we would like to buy your house. I'm like, okay, I'll take $1 million. And he's like,
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, then I'm not selling. Like, that's my price. You don't want to offer it? Well, then, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jennie, they should follow you on social, too. How do you want people to connect?
Follow us at Insured Title Agency, Facebook and Instagram. All the stories, if I reference a news article or something that's going on in the media, you'll find it on our Facebook page. Florida Realtors actually just sent out a call to action to all of our Florida Realtors to let our elected officials know that we would like them to vote yes for holding condominium associations accountable, for curbing the fees that they can charge to buyers and sellers when you're buying and selling condos.
Right.
Because right now they already cap the estoppel fee, which is essentially the administrative fee that they charge a buyer or seller for doing paperwork, which is also their job. And it's like the easiest thing. No, they were capped at, I think it was $350. Now they're just adding junk fees.
Yeah.
So we had to go back to the legislature and ask them, please vote yes on reining them in more because they're out of control and they're just costing consumers money for no reason, no valid reason.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, Jennie Restrepo, Insured Title Agency, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, we got Doug Clark, Hours Creole, restaurant partner in Pinellas County, coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.